What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Business of Strength podcast. I'll be your host today, Dan Goodman, coming at you with a quick, actionable episode of things that we are doing right now to evaluate team members at Varsity House Gym to make sure that we're providing clarity and direction to have another kick-ass year in 2026. Before I dive into the nuts and bolts of today's episode, I have to remind you I'm shooting this episode January 13th. We've got trainer school. I know you've seen the emails. I know you've seen the messaging, but if you need one last nudge, next week, Friday, Varsity House Gym HQ, we have a awesome lineup, some amazing presenters and presentations and workshops and training, and of course, good food. January 23rd, all day. February, we have no events. In the month of March, we are hopping over the pond. We are taking the traveling band to London, the UK, to see many old friends, hopefully meet new friends for a weekend at Trainer Empire, where we'll be networking, presenting, bringing some of our great friends and some of North America's best gym owners and gym of the year. We've got Devin Gage. We've got TJ Lopez. We've got Joel and Vincenza from Stay Gold, who were the Business of Strength Gym of the Year. Tony Smith is going to be there. We've got a killer lineup, and I can't wait to see so many of you there March 7th and 8th. You can still register for that event as well. Jumping right into today's episode, I love talking to you about the things that we're doing. Both, obviously, we talk about the things that we haven't done well plenty, but something that we've done really well in the last 5 or 6 years is professionalize the onboarding for team members. We've always had a fantastic internship. We've really professionalized the onboarding. And step two to that was professionalizing the year-end reviews and making sure that people in the company knew exactly where they stood. And if they wanted to progress in the company, they knew exactly, how that could happen. So what we've done in the last few years is we've broken out our year-end meetings into two parts. And part one is completely based on core values of the human, right? The person that we're evaluating. Are they the core values of our company? Did they hold the line on the metric that they were accountable for or the project that they were supposed to finish? And on their end, they're required to do a self-paced or self-guided review of themselves. And a lot of times, what I notice is when we were having meetings like this before, we would sit somebody down and we would just talk to them about where they're going, what they're doing well. And it really was based on like our feelings towards them. And it was way more of Joe and myself talking to the person than them talking to us. And we've really flipped this on its head in the last few years. And I will give Adam and Mike a lot of credit because Adam and Mike executed part one of this meeting completely, with Mike dealing with all Orangeburg or HQ team members and Adam evaluating all of the Ordell Ridgewood personal training team members. Now, we reviewed this as a leadership team. So the leadership team is Mike, Joe, Adam, myself. We would do a core value review on each person. And so just a quick overview of that. So core value metric system, our values are hungry, humble, committed to excellence, and socially smart. I've talked about it on this show before, but one of my buddies, Devin Gage, who I mentioned earlier, he busted my chops. He's like, "Hey man, you talk about your values all the time, but how do you metric those?" And I really didn't have a good answer. It's just like, oh, it's based on feeling, examples, like whatever I think about that person. And I then quickly realized, well, that doesn't scale and that's not sustainable. And it's not fair to the person to have whoever's evaluating potential mood of the day influence how they're being reviewed. So what we did was we created 5 super tangible examples that would exemplify what we're looking for in each value. Now, I'm not going to go over all 20 of these items. I'll pick one. I'm going to pick hungry.
Hey, everybody, I'm really excited to announce a new partner, Turnkey Coach, a platform built by coaches for coaches that empowers fitness professionals to deliver online coaching with a human touch. Their all in one platform streamlines client connection, programming, payments, community, and progress tracking, and more. And we're loving it so far. It's been amazing. And by far, some of the best customer service that we've ever had with any company we work with. This simply isn't an ad for Turnkey Coach. I've been in conversation with Andrew Jackson, Turnkey Coach's co-founder and chief operating officer, for nearly a year, learning the ins and outs of their approach, the platform's functionality to maximize the coach and the client experience by saving time and maximizing revenue for our gyms specifically, while also improving the quality of the service that our client receives. It was really important to us that we had a all-in-one platform that really brought our training programs to life and made it simple, easy, and effective for our coaches staff to deliver, but also gave our clients a new perspective on their training, their results, the data that they're tracking. After those conversations, it really became clear that Turnkey Coach was the right fit to be the exclusive coaching platform for Varsity House gyms and all of our gyms moving forward to help each location and each coach really maximize their impact in the community. You'll hear more soon about Turnkey Coach and at Business of Strength events and on our podcast. But if you're looking to build a scalable, professional coaching practice with less stress, head to turnkeycoach.coach and check out the free resources available or book a call with a member of their team. You won't regret it. Again, turnkeycoach.coach. That's the platform you want to be using. They're really exceptional at what they're doing, and we can't believe we waited this long to make the switch.
So for us, if the person does this 90% or 90% or greater of the time, they get a plus here. So it'd be 1 point. All right. And obviously, we're looking for this person in order to pass the test that they get over a 90% score on the values. So the first part is, are they 15 minutes early for their scheduled shift? Yes or no? Do they stay 15 minutes late, or are they always running out the door before the gym is clean, tidy, answered of any questions, garbage out? Have they done the checklist? We have a pre-shift and post-shift checklist. There's always two coaches here, especially I'm talking about Orangeburg. So, like, are they running out and leaving their peer to do all the work? Number 3, do they attend our weekly coaches meeting and are they on time and engaged? Number 4, we have a weekly roundup on Slack. Do they participate? Yes or no? And lastly, we have a defensive scorecard that is supposed to be done by the end of each and every week. It's a checklist of things that people are responsible for doing. Have they updated their Turnkey Coach app? Have they reached out to at least one client who's on the attendance report that has no-showed? And these are all things we can monitor, right, with software. So we use Nomly to monitor outbound message on the internal side. So it's very easy to know, like, yes or no. Okay, we have these 5 points, tangible points for each value. And the goal is that each team member is going to score above 90%. The second component here is, did this person hold the line on the metric that they were supposed to? So it could be, let's just take a simple one for a coach. Most of us are evaluating coaches. If a coach is in charge of retention, okay, and your goal was a 5% or better retention rate or attrition rate, did they do it? Yes or no? And if they did, great. And if they didn't, if it was like 9%, well, why is that? And what are we going to do to either affect change with the work that they do? Like, is it an area of opportunity, or are they just not doing the job? Okay. So that's literally it on the first half for a quote unquote leadership personnel to evaluate the person that they're having this year end with. And the reason we're able to do that is because each team member is given a self review, a self guided self review. And the reason why we started doing this, and I'll give Adam a lot of credit here, Adam put this together, and I think it's a fantastic idea. Oftentimes, we were having these meetings, and it was guided by whoever was the boss, so to speak. And it was a lot of the boss or leader speaking at the employee, which isn't great, right? You're not getting the answers to the test by just talking at somebody. You want that person to tell you what they need, to tell you the friction points, to tell you their perceived area of opportunity. And it's, like sometimes it's not always going to be correct because obviously you need to hold the line on certain uh, parts of your business. But, look, you might get a lot of information by just sitting back and having that person dictate the tone of that meeting. So, a quick review of what the self review is we start with the old classic, the SWOT analysis. We have somebody write down what their perceived strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are in their current role in this organization. Then, second part of this is a 0 to 10 like grading scale of themselves on their annual performance, the confidence in their role, clarity in their current role of what they need to do daily, weekly, quarterly to be successful, and 0 to 10 of wanting the current role that they're in. Then we transition to a little more writing. What aspects of the day-to-day fire you up? What aspects of the day-to-day drain you? I think this is a really important one because, look, I know sometimes we want people to toughen up, but we all know like you're way more apt to be successful by focusing on the 80% you enjoy. And this could be as simple as like, hey, I really love the morning shifts. I'd rather do every morning shift of the week. I hate closing the gym. All right, well, like a lot of times that's a pretty simple fix. It could be what drains you. This is something in real time. Like we heard this from a lot of our team. Hey, we're meeting heavy, too much so. And we've cut and condensed a lot. Hey, I think a lot of what we do could just go on Slack. Okay, well, that's going to require a lot more accountability. But we listened. We combined the defensive weekly sales meeting and the coaches meeting to one hour meeting. So we're saving everybody an hour a week. All right, the people in the personal training businesses are like, hey, look, we're always coming to HQ. Can we rotate through? It saves us time when we do it here because we're like an hour in the car. Hey, you know what? You're right. Okay, we can definitely do those things. So sometimes when you sit back and listen and get feedback from the team, they're going to give you the answers to the test. And I think this is a very important one. Next, what skills are you looking to obtain in the new year to progress your career forward? And how can we help you do that? Events, books, trainings. We do a monthly town hall for on the business side and coaching side. So if we hear a lot of the same answers, can we now curate or navigate that information towards helping fill in the gap for what people perceive their gaps to be? We want to know about problems that they solved, like, hey, a couple problems this year that you faced, and how did you overcome them or solve them? I think that's important to self-reflect on. And what are you proud of this year? I know for me, sometimes it's like next goal. Like, all right, 24-hour rule, next goal, next goal, next goal. And you don't look back. And you, as the owner, operator, or facility leader, you might not even know what made somebody proud. And that's a problem too. So this gives you an opportunity to hear them out as to what fired them up, what made them proud. How can you highlight it? Can you talk about that? Can you redirect? Can you write an email about it? Can you highlight them on Slack about it or to your member Facebook group or on Instagram? That's a lot to do with fulfillment. Okay. So that's meeting one. It's self-guided by the person on their self-review. And then we go over their core values, their score for core values. And it's simple. Their KPI, did they hit it or not? Did they do the project or not? And that's meeting one. And that will happen in November or December. If you're listening to this now, you didn't do it, don't worry about it. Do it now. Who gives a shit? All right. Part two to that. We let It's January 13th when we're filming this, and I don't even have our year-end numbers done yet. Like I'm working on that. So I don't want to start to set metrics for the new year, compensation, all that kind of stuff. I need to see the full scope of last year completely before we go blowing up a budget. And our biggest expense at this point is payroll by far. Like by far our biggest expense is payroll. So I need to make sure that is budgeted accordingly based on two things: how we actually finished and where we're projected to go. So part two to this meeting is going to happen middle to end of February for compensation changes to happen in March. Now, the only way compensation changes can happen is if they're warranted, right? And by warranted, I mean that your business grew last year. If our business retracted and we didn't want it to, there is no raises or merit-based improvement on terms of pay. This is an organization, and if you're listening to this, organization grew by 5 to 10% as a healthy growth rate, and hopefully more than that. Yes, we can afford to pay out some raises, okay? And this is how we will do it, and it's very, very simple. We'll take our four values. All right, we'll go to that metric rating system. Did the person score 100% in that given value? Cool, that's a plus. That equals 1% raise. All right, each value is worth 1%. All right, you go to that individual KPI. Did they hit it? Yes or no? Cool, they hit it, 1%. All right. Did we hit our overarching company goal for the year? Yes or no? 1%. So if somebody did not, or if somebody is not getting a promotion in terms of, like let's just take part-time to full-time or full-time to director role, which might involve more compensation, we're a salaried shop, more compensation, like somebody takes over a community management role or somebody gets ascended to facility leader or director of training, that's going to warrant more than a 0 to 6% raise. All right. But based on merit, if somebody's sitting in an incumbent role and that hasn't changed, that's how the money works for us. It's 0 to 6% so long as the company can afford it and grew at least 5% in the previous year. I'm proud to say that of all the time that I've been here in 17 years, there's only been 1 year in history where one full year where we skipped a year of merit-based raises, and that was 2020 into 2021. This is the only time there was a halt to merit-based raises. Obviously, we could have a whole other episode. And if you want to hear an episode on that, shoot me an email, dan@varsitygym.com, about the compensation scale. This is something I go deep on at our events. But for the sake of a podcast, that's how the raise conversation will happen. And those meetings are very quick. We readjust their individual KPI. We reevaluate. Everybody here is part of the incentive structure. We readjust what the goals are for the new year. And some people always ask, they're like, "Well, what happens in January and February?" End of the year, I say, "Hey, listen, everybody knows for the start of the year, things in your mind remain unchanged. We know that the goal marker is going to move a little bit, but for now, let's focus on what that incentive was in quarter four, and that just carries over to quarter one until you are told otherwise." Usually, it's never anything totally out of range. It's going to move up a few percentage points, but the incentive share for them should move up a few percentage points as well. So that's been established and understood. Everybody in our company is tied to the action in some form or fashion. I think that keeps competitors competitive. And, in terms of the salary base pay or even hourly, it's 0 to 6% unless they've taken on a completely new role, which is another can of worms. But that is how we set the precedent and create clarity with our team. Part one, self-guided self-review that they really dictate. Part two is compensation. And having those two distinct conversations separate from one another allows for the first meeting to truly be about performance and where they're going. And the second part is about the numbers and the salary cap and a reiteration of where they're going and what they are most important for, most accountable to. One other thing, and I didn't have this in my notes, but is something that popped in my head now that's important to understand. At both of these meetings, their one page role and responsibility is printed and reviewed. A lot of times we'll put together these roles or contracts, they get printed, they get signed, they get stashed away and never seen again, ever. Well, this is a great opportunity to print, adjust, and review it again and again and again. You yourself that are listening to it, you should probably print your key role and go over it and post it and stare at it all the time too. We all need direction. We all need to have reminders of what we should be most committed to towards moving our business forward. These reviews have established great clarity for our organization. We talk all the time about two things for training businesses to be successful: their ability to generate leads on a consistent basis and the activity towards that. And the latter is leadership, their ability to recruit, train, and empower people on their team. Those are the two superpowers when you are selling time for money in a training business. So hopefully this provided some clarity on how to do year-end reviews. If you've got any questions, shoot me an email, dan@varsityhousegym.com, and I hope to see you at an upcoming event. January 23rd, Trainer School here at Varsity House Gym HQ, and March 7th and 8th, Center City, London. Both links to register will be in the show notes. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out.